If you lack the willpower to stick to your own decisions about how you choose to live your life, it's very likely that you will never start your own creative business. You'll never follow your dreams, and you'll never realize your full potential. You will have succumbed to the pressure of normative values, which tries very hard to keep us in our place, too fearful to take risk. So today, I want to talk about 10 ways to resist normative values so that you can live an alternative lifestyle. Welcome to Hexotica, where you're invited to step into the next phase of your intentional evolution towards self-reliance and an alternative lifestyle of time, location, and financial freedom. I'm your host, Christine Rice, and this is episode 11. So welcome back to the podcast, everyone. I hope that you had a lovely week, and I hope that you made the right decision for your life during this last lunar eclipse. If you have made any decisions recently where you have prioritized what is more meaningful to you, you have prioritized your big dream, then you probably have made it at just the right point. Because if you did not make the right decision in the past 2 weeks, darling, it's going to be a problem because this lunar eclipse was massive. And it means that if you are not on the path toward your dream right now, if you're not prioritizing it, no matter how painful it is, that you probably are not going to have the future that you want. I don't know if you're a big believer in astrology. I'm still a skeptic myself, but this one was really big. There was a lot of talk around it. And I did actually make a super huge sacrifice in the last week. I decided I'm not going back to the US to see my family this October, which was very painful because I miss them. I try to go back every year and I didn't last year. But with the way things are going over there, and the way things are here for me with just starting my new business model, I felt it was just not the right time. So I have delayed it and I have prioritized my creative business over something that was very, very difficult. It was a very, very difficult decision to not go home when I had the ticket paid, the flights were booked, everything was ready to go. My family was looking forward to seeing me. My niece and sisters were making plans to go to Salem for Halloween. Oh my God, that's got to happen one day. But this year, the stars just weren't aligned for me to go home. It just was not going to happen. I am in a phase of my business where I am head down, butt up, hustling hard, and I want everything to work out for my future. So if you've made a big decision like that recently in your life, then you probably have made the right one, because this is the time now to prioritize your big dream, your creative business, whatever it is that you've been trying to work on and get done in the last few years. Things are going to start shifting very soon. Things are going to start working out for you. Whether you believe astrology or not, I know for sure that you're listening to this. You are motivated. You believe that good things are possible, and I want to help you do that. So today we're going to revisit an old blog post of mine that I wrote back in 2018 about what it means to live an alternative lifestyle, because that's what this podcast is all about. It's about being free. It's about living life on our own terms. It's about being self-reliant as far as having time, location, and financial freedom. And we cannot do that often if we're feeling suffocated by a very conformist, normative valued led lifestyle. So I wrote this post way back in 2018, and it's my number one most visited blog post on my blog, hexotica.com.au. And I'm revisiting it today because I feel like these are the 10 kind of commandments of what it means to live an alternative lifestyle. And because I wrote this back in 2018 was when it wasn't popular to talk about one certain alternative lifestyle thing, I've added that one in here. So it's actually 11 different ways to resist normative values. So what I want to say first off, though, is that I'm not being judgmental of people who choose to have a normal lifestyle who are working 9 to 5. I think that you can absolutely live the most interesting, vibrant alternative lifestyle and still hold down a normal job or have kids or a family. I don't want anyone who has any of those things to feel like I am judging you. I'm not trying to be judgmental here. I'm just speaking to the people who maybe are already restless or already know that that lifestyle or those choices are not for them and never will be for them. The people who feel a bit bored with those choices that were maybe given to them from when they were a child or that they grew up with, or that they feel no longer allows them to continue growing in the ways that they want to. Because to me, what an alternative lifestyle really means, what Hexotic really means, is interesting, living life, exploring things. It means you're going after more possibilities and opportunities than what were given to you on a platter when you were born. So just keep that in mind. If you feel like any of these are like, oh, well, that's me and I'm, pretty alternative AF, that's fine. I don't mean to be judgmental. Some of these might ruffle some feathers, but they were written just to help people who feel that they want something different and they want to explore something different. So let's get into it. So the reason why I think it's important to go through and list out different things that are described as an alternative lifestyle is because it's going to help us see the contrast between choices that are more conventional, that were given to us, that maybe we haven't thought about enough. And it's going to allow us to explore new possibilities for ourselves through these different lifestyle choices. Because I believe that nothing will destroy your confidence to build your own creative business or to fully embrace your big dream if you are living by normative values. And these values, they're hidden forces that help us to stay on a path that was chosen for us. They keep us on a path of conformity. And they can take us away from who we truly are as individuals if we don't challenge them or recognize that that's the railroad that we were put on. So normative values come from culture. They come from the country we were born in. They come from the dominant religion of the country we were born in. They come from society and the general public. They can come from our family, and they can come from our friends. Now, an alternative lifestyle breaks free from these norms and of the societal pressures to conform to those norms. So an alternative lifestyle is a way of living where you are truly self-reliant. So you would choose this lifestyle because you enjoy learning about who you are and who you could be. So you prioritize exploring alternatives to what you were given or what surrounded you from birth and through your childhood. And you seek an entirely new lifestyle that is not mainstream. Maybe because your current lifestyle feels suffocating or even painful. Or maybe it's just too boring. A lot of neurodivergent people just get very bored with repetition and with conformity. So I find a lot of people who choose alternative lifestyles are neurodivergent. And an alternative lifestyle is the ultimate expression of your true self. It's the taking off of the mask, right? Leading the life that you want means an active, conscious evaluation and possibly the resistance to all the other opinions of anyone other than yourself. It's the ultimate test of self-belief. So it takes a lot of personal strength and willpower to lead an alternative lifestyle. And that's why most people choose not to. But it's also why many people do not ever feel truly fulfilled in their life, because they never allowed themselves to explore radically different ideas and values, or they were simply too afraid to ever try. So to many people hearing this who have not reached past the age of 40, choosing an alternative lifestyle may no longer be a struggle. There's no going back once you've explored the geography of your own heart. It becomes your new home, and it's where you find your family. As you grow older and you go further down your own path, the self-doubts about your choices, they fall by the wayside like last winter's leaves. But for younger people, or those raised in restrictive families, religions, or cultures, normative values may saturate the entire landscape. And alternative lifestyle choices may still feel like a vague feeling rather than a visible fork in the road. And there's no clear outline as to what decisions must be made, and the noise of self-doubt and loneliness and other people's opinions often blurs our way forward. So what I want to do here is to help you see how you can live an alternative lifestyle through 11 different forks in the road ahead. If you want to lead an alternative lifestyle, here are the 10 things that I recommend doing to live life on your own terms, or to just consider doing. Think about, question how you're living your life. Number 1, ignore mainstream culture and go find your alternative community. The overbearing noise of mainstream culture is the first and most confusing thing to overcome. Mainstream culture is marked by blandness, and it is spread thickly upon us by mass media. It's literally the dominant culture that we see on TV and in films. The path away from mainstream culture will always be through the arts, because mainstream culture fails to value arts except for on an extremely superficial level. When you begin to befriend those who focus on a creative expression or aesthetics, you'll eventually find yourself in a subculture of some sort, and you'll eventually find your people, your alternative community. No longer alone, you'll more easily be able to resist the conformist messages of mass media, materialism, and superficial values that work to support a capitalistic economic system that is trying to shape you into a cog rather than a fulfilled individual human being. Number 2, lose your religion, then go find it again. Another massive hurdle to overcome in leading the life you choose is religion, which has predefined life paths from start to finish. Question the silver platter of answers and rules that religion presents to you. Think of religion as separate from the God you believe in, because religion is mandated, sanctioned, articulated, and enforced not by God, but by man. Religion is just an interpretation of God. God is in your heart. Nobody needs religion to be spiritual or to be a good person. You can be connected to God or to source or whatever you want to call divine guidance and love without religion. So a blind adherence to the path religion points you to can often become very internally divisive. Perpetually second-guessing yourself because you always are thinking about what religion tells you to think rather than what your own heart is telling you. The way to avoid the wrong paths of religion, then, is only through your own heart, through pure compassion for yourself and for others. This means you may need to lose your religion on certain points and find it again on those that align with your sense of personal forgiveness, empathy, and loving kindness. Eastern religions like Tibetan Buddhism teach us a lot about compassion and are worth exploring for a different perspective, as is the daily practice of meditation. Number 3, reset the default heterosexuality assumption and maintain your sexual freedom. So what does an alternative lifestyle mean sexually? Normative values would have us all fall into male or female modes of existence, herding us all toward a monogamous marriage and child rearing before we can even know what is even right for us. Heterosexual and monogamous assumptions can be the heaviest burden to buck, especially when they come from the person that we shared our first moments of intimacy with. Don't ask me why I know. Resistance to commitment can keep the options open for exploration and lessen the emotional fallout with loved ones. So all intimacy is messy, right? But it's better to force yourself to communicate honestly and suffer a breakup than to commit to a marriage that will lead to divorce. In fact, according to the American Psychological Association, about 40 to 50% of married couples in the United States divorce, and the divorce rate for subsequent marriages is even higher. So this is not to say that every divorce happens because of a lack of understanding of sexual preference, right? But it is very telling of how many of us rush into marriage without even thinking twice. So if you're not sure, stay free if you're unsure about your sexual preferences, because working out this path can take a long time and it can break a lot of hearts. Number 4, become conscious of your body and what you are eating. When it comes to diet and health, the general public is massively ignorant and misinformed. The standard American/Australian diet, SAD, is what most people just unconsciously default upon. So this is a diet heavy in junk food, processed meats, sugar, gluten, artificial flavorings, artificial coloring, preservatives, and other chemicals. Things that come in boxes and jars. Too much of it can be a short path to an early death. And just because SAD seems normal and it's everywhere does not make it less deadly. SAD is a massive roadblock to your potential to achieve your goals, as health complications will drag you down at every step. So many alternative lifestyles are often defined by conscious decisions around food. The paleo diet, vegetarianism, veganism, the raw food movement, or clean eating diets are all alternative lifestyle choices because they go against the way the masses mindlessly consume foods that harm our bodies, the planet, and animals. Body and diet consciousness is a form of power and self-liberation from normative values. So educate yourself to learn the good foods from the bad and what works best for your body. Never stop studying how to make yourself healthier, and you will find it much easier to achieve your goals in life. Number 5, and my favorite, define your own alternative look and create an aesthetic advantage. So an aesthetic rebellion is the most obvious marker of an alternative lifestyle, as it's the most in-your-face confrontation of self-ownership in a society working to define people as conforming and controllable commodities. So if you've ever heard someone talk about a young woman's tattoo as marring her beauty, you've just witnessed the practice of public appearance ownership in action. Body modifications, tattoos, outrageous hairstyles, and striking outfits are all personal efforts at self-ownership and self-expression. This is why subcultures and countercultures like goths, punks, metalheads, hippies, and hipsters, and the endless number of other subcultures have dress codes to set themselves apart from aesthetic conformity. Any self-definition in the way you look that does not conform to sanctioned looks of commercial mass media is a form of resistance to normative values. So standing out from a crowd can help you to be memorable, it can lead to opportunities, and it can make a powerful statement about how you want to be perceived in particular situations. If it's done with finesse, having a unique look can be an aesthetic advantage that can help you achieve your goals. Number 6, maintain strong boundaries between yourself and your family. So family is often both the source of the pressure to conform and the object of where the pressure is placed. Normative values coming from family members are very hard to escape from without a fight or constant negotiation. The battle between becoming who you are and what you're expected to be is fought on your own flesh as parents refuse to give up their ownership with their creator's birther's entitlement. And most often, our family has good intentions and just wants the best for us, right? But their good intentions are still their biased beliefs about how life should be lived. And some family members are just clinical narcissists who will never have the faintest clue what is best for us. So financial and physical independence is the path forward. Until all dependence with your family is cut, you are not your own person. Keep your family at a healthy distance if you want to be free to be you. Even the best of families will impose their values heavily upon its members. Alternative lifestyle choices in choosing not to get married or have kids, or in how you birth or raise your children, They get heaped upon you by unwanted opinions from strangers and families alike. So draw protective circles around your blood relatives and maintain your boundaries. Number 7, become politically conscious and learn to think for yourself. Political unconsciousness is costing our planet, it's costing livelihoods, and it's costing our health. Are you truly informed of who is serving your interests? Or are you supporting leaders just because your family or your religion follows them and told you to follow them as well? How closely have you looked at how power and money work behind the scenes, at who owns the TV channels and the news networks that you're watching, and who did they donate money to in the last election? And how often do you question and research the messages the mass media is spouting? Because propaganda and misinformation abound, as we know, especially now with AI, right? So finding the way out of political confusion, apathy, and indoctrination, it requires a lot of continuous self-education. And any decent education starts with the classics, in my opinion. So first, familiarize yourself with the great political thinkers and philosophers. And don't tell me that you are too busy to do this or that it is too boring and dry. It's not. You can get a Cliff Notes to make it easy to understand any of these thinkers. I recommend starting with Plato, Kant, Nietzsche, Hegel, Heidegger, and Sartre. You can read these. They are very enjoyable. Sartre especially, you probably don't even need a secondary text to understand, and they will help you understand how each of those political thinkers, those philosophical thinkers contributed to political thought, and they will help you understand politics on a whole nother level. It's basically like software for your brain. There's a big difference between people who understand philosophy and arguments and how arguments are made and developed and the people that don't, and how they see politics and who they're supporting. I'm not going to say anything about who I support. You know who I support. You know who I don't. You know who I don't support, I should say. Anyway, second thing to that, studying philosophers, is to know who are the published authors, who are the thought leaders and the influencers of today, who are the independent journalists out there who are getting published in the best magazines, in the magazines that have paywalls. That's where you're going to find the best writers. Anything that you find on blogs that don't have names, YouTube, syndicated news, low budget online sources, those are not good sources. But you'll be able to recognize the propaganda machine of vested interests and how it manufactures consent from the masses. You'll be able to think for yourself. Number 8, choose experiences over things. The most insidious normative value is to resist an obsession with material things, because capitalism creates a never-ending desire for more in us. It is crippling our collective power to live sustainably and to help each other out. The pursuit of things has created a sea of neurotics, constantly measuring their self-worth by whether they can advance to the next level in material comforts, and the desire for more never ends. On a personal level, the pursuit of things too soon in life can be a distraction from self-development. Having experiences is far better than having things when it comes to strengthening our potential to achieve. The way out of the neurotic consumption game is to continually place experiences above material things. Know when enough is enough when it comes to material goods. Invest in a digital marketing course or a book rather than a large flat screen TV, for example. Things can come later. It's an experience and it's skills that you need first. So an interesting study done by Purdue University in the US, they actually found a level where people were happy with how much money they earned, an income level that makes people truly happy. That income level at the time of that study was $95,000 in the US. It's probably a lot more now because of the cost of living and rising inflation and whatnot. But it's interesting to note that at the time, they found that people who had made $95,000 and above plateaued when it came to happiness, that no more money than that it didn't make them more happy. But the point to 95K made people happier because it took away negativity from their lives. So, for example, it took away their debt. They didn't have to do their laundry. They didn't have to cook. They didn't have to run errands as much because they could then hire someone to do those things, or it wasn't a problem. It wasn't something that kept them up at night anymore. So money can buy happiness up to a point, only insofar as it can remove negativity from our lives. And then after that, we don't get any more happy. So today I reckon the new amount might be more like 150, even 175,000, maybe even 200, depending on what state you live in or what country you live in. And that might be a bit of a challenge for those starting out on a new creative business, right? But it is achievable if you first focus on making yourself into the kind of person who can earn that amount. Number 9, make life meaningful in your own way. Starting a creative business and chasing your dreams to live an alternative lifestyle requires a heavy anchor of self-belief. If there's one normative value above all that you must cast off in order to live your life on your own terms, it's any external definition of the meaning of your life. You need to make your life meaningful to you in your very own way. Take 100% ownership of your life and what it means to you. Disregard any and every definition by anyone and anything outside of yourself. Give yourself permission to be the leader of your own life. Not a single person on this planet knows any more about the afterlife than you do, and that is a fact. Whether you find meaning in life through science, your religion, existentialism, witchcraft, or the law of attraction, there will always be a need for some sort of spiritual foundation for inner consolation and guidance. And that foundation can only be from within yourself. Spiritual independence is the foundation for thinking for yourself. When you think for yourself, you can guide yourself through anything in life. Number 10. And this is the one that I didn't add for many years, but it's such a popular topic now that I feel that I can finally say this. Number 10 for having an alternative lifestyle is to not have children. Number 10, don't have children. Declining birth rates are not your problem. And some dude's fixation on his legacy is not your problem. Choosing not to have children has personally been the number one reason why I feel like I've lived an alternative lifestyle. And that's even after choosing to be goth, running my own business for 17 years, rejecting religion, and after having gone vegan and vegetarian for a few years. It's the number one thing I also thank my past self for almost every single day. I have zero regrets that I've never had kids. Choosing to not have kids means that your time, your money, and your energy are truly yours. So if you've never been sure about becoming a parent, consider the possibility of never becoming one and all of the possibilities in a child-free lifestyle, rather than just assume that going child-free will be some sort of loss. Because the harsh truth is, there are many people who regret having children, and they may never admit it, which is dutifully honorable, but it's not honest. There are a lot of parents who are very regretful. Just go to one of those forums online where parents secretly and anonymously submit their secret shame and regrets. And it doesn't mean that they're not a good parent, but they just sometimes wish that they hadn't. And there's no guarantee your children will be around to take care of you when you are old. So what if you get like a lemon, like we need to talk about Kevin type situation? I mean, that was personally one of my weird fears. I didn't want to get a child that might be a total psychopath. You never know what you're going to get, right? I'm going to be able to leave it. So I'm very grateful that there are so many happy parents. There's beautiful families in the world, especially within my immediate family, because it meant that I had zero pressure to ever have any myself. But it was just not ever something on my cards. I never had that maternal instinct toward children. I never wanted the lifestyle. And I think that was primarily it. It's not that I don't like kids, but I just don't like the lifestyle. I didn't want to be tied down. Having a dog is close enough to a kid. Okay. So now let's talk about the ultimate way to live an alternative lifestyle. This is number 11, which is start a creative business. Starting your own business to gain more time, location, and financial freedom in your life is one of the best decisions that you can make to truly live a unique, individual, spirit-led, self-improvement-led, amazing, interesting life. So why not carve your own place out in this world and start your own creative business? Because there is no more divergent path from conformity than starting a business and working for yourself. It is the ultimate form of alternative lifestyle. It is completely lived on your terms as a unique individual in the world. And any subculture or niche that you are drawn to can become the focus of your business. You can learn a living out of the subculture that you're attracted to if you learn how to serve it in a profitable way. So even if you don't want to start your own business, you can advance your career path exponentially by building your personal brand like a business owner. What is that you love? Define yourself by what you love and are passionate about in the world, and that will be the thing with which you add value to other people's lives. Never be afraid to diverge. Some people grow up with a really strong sense of self, and they never had to grapple with any of these self-development decision points. No forks in the road for them. They just always knew what road they were going on, right? And others were lucky enough to have parents who encouraged them to be who they were and live their dreams from the start. But for most of us, we must work hard to overcome normative values, to strike out on our own, unguided, fearful, and often still confused about life in one of these areas. So no matter where you are in life, just don't be afraid. Fear will kill your dreams and it will keep you unhappy. So take risks, push yourself, stay healthy, and learn digital marketing already, because if you want to learn how to build a creative business and transform yourself from a creative daydreamer into a self-employed, freedom-focused marketician, then making money online and working in the way that suits you, you can do that by learning digital marketing. So if you'd like to get started with your creative business, I have a little gift for you, which is my Swan Transformation Marketing Strategy Guidebook, a free downloadable printable PDF of 30 pages of every single step that you need to do to start and grow your creative business in checklist form, all in chronological order. It's like a map for how to get started and where to go so that you know exactly what to do. It's a free PDF and you'll be put on the newsletter to get the emails about this podcast in your inbox, as well as a link to contact me if you would like to get started with one-on-one mentoring. So grab that at swan.hexotica.link. I'll put the link in the show notes as well. So thank you so much for listening today. I hope that you've enjoyed that. And if you have been enjoying the podcast, please give me a review. We're in our 11th episode now, and I'm very proud of that, but we don't have any reviews yet. So I'd like to know now, what do you think of the podcast? What would you like me to talk more about? And where would you like to see the conversations headed? I'll see you next week for episode 12. Thank you for listening. Bye.